Welcome on in, everybody. Thanks for tuning on in. Tobin here with you. Appreciate you guys checking out the channel. If you guys like the Tobin and Leroy radio show, check us on out. YouTube.com/TheTicketMiami. Subscribe, like over there. Subscribe, like over here. Subscribe, like everywhere. What does it cost you, really? You know, there's things I'm subscribed to on YouTube. I don't even remember. I'm like, well, I don't remember. I must have been drunk one night watching a figure. I feel like I could actually catch a lobster. I don't know why did I subscribe to Tickle Sticks TV, but apparently I did. And what a glorious day it was. I'm sure it was some great videos and things that I was checking out. But either way, your support means a lot, so I appreciate that. So a couple things going on in Dolphins land as they are getting ready for their joint practices and getting ready to take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which, by the way, still waiting on this Tom Brady to address his crimes. We're waiting on it. You let me know when that happens. But this one was interesting. So today, Roquan Smith of the Chicago Bears, linebacker, all-pro, 25 years old, in position to make a boatload of money, but apparently is not happy with what is being offered from the Chicago Bears. And I think a lot of Dolphin fans are kind of raising their eyebrow and saying, could something be done there? Could something be done with going after Roquan Smith and adding him to this already dynamic Dolphins defense? And I'm interested. I'm definitely interested if something like this could get pulled off. I don't know what the draft capital for that would take. I do think that a couple of things hurt it, though. I think that the idea that the Miami Dolphins had this whole penalty go down. And if you had already the extra draft capital next year of your first round pick, and especially yours, I think that, you're a team that has expectations. You feel like it's not going to be too high a pick. That's what your hope is anyway. And with the San Francisco pick, I think you're thinking to yourself, don't really know what it's going to end up. What if it's high? It's not really in your control. So I think that you're a little bit more cautious about going out there and dishing something like that. So I certainly do think that this is the first time really where you're probably looking at the penalty like, man, this thing really bit the Dolphins in the ass. And also seems like just so harsh, such a harsh penalty to see this all come through. Like I was reading today in Dave Hyde's column, and he was saying, according to him, he's saying that Robert Kraft, according to league sources, suggests that he pushed the NFL to penalize the Dolphins. He says, he writes, it's unclear how much the sway of his voice had in the proceedings, but you can understand Kraft's anger and realize that the Dolphins' owner-in-waiting, Bruce Beal, was recruiting Brady during his final pitch of the season in 2019. Still, for tampering in the historic scope of Commissioner Roger Goodell, penalized him a first-round pick in 2023 and a third-round pick next year. It is, it's a crazy thing to see that they went out and did something like this. The league source also said that there is a league-wide belief that Don Yee, the agent for Brady and Peyton, told his story about tampering on the condition that they would have no penalties or reproach from the league, which is kind of crazy too, which is like how so you have this agent and agency singing like a canary, ratting out the Dolphins for something they wanted to do, So you have this whole thing going on where the NFL trying to look tough with this entire suspension, and you have boo-hooing Robert Kraft up there, the cheatingest of them all, saying, they were trying to get Tom Brady. It's like, well, okay, let's let it act like he didn't want to go, dude. Like you guys weren't pushing him out. Like Bill Belichick wasn't being petty with him every which way, trying to replace him with Jimmy Garoppolo. And you're trying to put a punishment on the Dolphins. You effing kidding me? And then the agency being a bunch of snitches, a bunch of stool pigeons going out there and saying, oh, Tom Brady, and they were approaching us, and all this and all. Come on, dude. That is ridiculous to read something like that goes on. But to see not only that it was so damn harsh, because it's embarrassing enough that these guys are getting suspended. Yeah, I get it. It doesn't really affect the team, but should it affect the team? They didn't get Tom Brady. They didn't affect anything whatsoever. And if anything, Tom Brady went off and won a Super Bowl for another team. So didn't cost the Patriots anything, didn't benefit the Dolphins in any way, and now you're still punishing them for moves that they're making, especially when they earned this draft capital with other moves. So really, really hurts, man. As far as the Roquan Smith thing is, do you give him a first-round pick plus whatever for him, plus the idea that you got to pay him a boatload of money? That you are going to have a decision with Tua Tagovailoa to make. You know that you're going to have a decision with Wilkins to make, with Gesicki to make. You're going to have a decision. You're going to have money probably to move around with Tyreek Hill and all that type of stuff. I'm no cap guru, but there's a lot of high-priced talent that's going to be around here. I'm certainly not giving up any young talent for him, though. Like the idea of giving up a Jalen Phillips or Javon Holland for him. You're going to need guys who can be cheap and produce. And also guys that just look like studs, Waddle among them. So I'm sure there's a lot of teams that would look around the Dolphins and are like, well, there's a lot of young talent that I would like there, similarly to like, the Minkah Fitzpatrick deal. But I think that it's a tough ask to get the Dolphins to go about this. I also wonder about cohesion. This is a Dolphins defense where everybody pretty much is the same. The only thing that they really have dealt with in this preseason has been no Byron Jones, and they brought in Melvin Ingram. Everything else is pretty similar. I mean, you go and look at that front with Wilkins and Davis and Agba and Phillips and Robertson, Baker and Xavier Howard and Brandon Jones and Javon Holland. Just looking at the initial depth chart, the only guys that are really different are Melvin Ingram and Nick Needham, who's in there for Bye-Bye Jones right now. There's just so many guys that already know the system and know everything. And Roquan Smith is going to be an important part if you were to bring somebody like that in to essentially be the QB of your defense. It is a bit of an adjustment. I don't know what the hesitancy would be on that from the Dolphins standpoint to go after him, just based on that was a big selling point, is that you have a young head coach here who basically has a plug-and-play defense, right? They kept everything on that side of the staff the same. They basically kept the personnel the same. But this guy's a stud, too. So there's give and take. I get you. There's definitely a bunch of things to look out for there. As far as trades that could actually happen, reporting on the Sports Illustrated, that Lynn Bowden and Preston Williams, the Dolphins are fielding offers on them. They very much appear on the clock. I don't know how much you could get for them. I don't feel like it's going to be a lot. Preston Williams and Lynn Bowden, neither one of them have been very durable. I know that there's a lot of the Dolphins fan base that has like an attachment to them because they're great on social media and certainly have talent. I don't think that they're bum guys. It's just been a question of, can they stay on the field? Preston Williams has missed half of his available games. Lynn Bowden has been less healthy than that. And I think that you see the writing on the wall. Now, when the depth chart came out, they did have Preston Williams listed second on the depth chart, which I think surprised a lot of people. He behind Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. He was on the second team. Now, with Cedric Wilson. Now, I'm guessing this is just like a case of keeping the rookies hungry. Like we talked about Ezukama and how much he's popping off, and Brennan Sanders, same thing. And, they bring in Mohamed Sanu and Trent Sherfield and all this type of stuff. Like these, I don't buy it. I don't buy it. I think it's a case of, one, you keep the rookies hungry, and two, maybe just is like, we're not that desperate to give up a guy like Preston Williams right now. So that definitely stood out when this chart came out, as far as like what are the surprises out here? What are you looking at? The line, no surprise to anybody. It's Armstead being where he's at. Guards Eichenberg, left guards Eichenberg, Connor Williams at center. Right guard is the man who can score touchdowns like none other that don't count, Robert Hunt, and then of course Austin Jackson at right tackle. So, and then the starting running backs are Edmonds and Mostert. Behind them are Michelle and Gaskin. And the last ones up there are Dokes and Ahmed. I think for Preston Williams, though, and Lynn Bowden, I just don't know what you could expect as far as like return is concerned for them. It certainly feels like it'd be something late. And I kind of feel like everybody's got the idea that like if you look at where things are developing, these teams know not a whole lot of belief that those guys will probably make the team anyway, right? Like with the writing seam and where it's going. So I feel like those things they're going to get weighted out and somebody will probably pounce on them. But there could be teams like Chicago losing receivers left and right. Could be a team that's out there and just be like, listen, we gotta make some kind of move. We gotta bring in somebody to make something happen here. Across though, it's gonna be an interesting thing to see what happens in these joint practices. If you guys haven't checked it out, I do recommend checking out this piece in The Athletic on Mike McDaniel. Very, very cool stuff on him. Very, very in-depth on his background. They got to sit down with him, I guess, at a restaurant or something like that. He said, quote, "I'm not like any other coach that I've worked with." And just some really cool stuff from him, especially on the idea of his background. I think everybody looks at like an offensive guru and thinks so. Like, you remember with Adam Gase, like, 5'9" guys, he wants to throw the ball all around. And certainly there's going to be some of that with the Dolphins, but he is, this guy built his bones on running the football. And I think that, he was raving about the running backs room that they have right now. And that's certainly been a downfall and a detriment to the Miami Dolphins ever since, Jay Ajayi got traded to Philadelphia. They really haven't had anybody, outside of like, I guess, Kenyon Drake for like 5 weeks, that they could really rely on week in and week out. But he said, I think that you emphasize football inside out. So I'm more of an interior line play first guy. I guess that is in the run, but it's also in the pass to earn yards. You start inside out and then they make the defense defend all of the field. Also, you learn things like Mike McDaniel did 39 straight pull-ups in college at Yale, which is, I think, impressive for a guy of his stature. And also, not a big attached to the phone guy. Will go nearly 12 hours straight without even looking at his phone, which in today's day and age is basically like going 2 days. Very impressive that he can keep his screen time down that much. So check that out on McDaniel. There's a lot of really, really great stuff on his background. Trent Sherfield also said, like, who's been with him in different locations, has said, like, this is the fastest team that he's been on. Like, the speed and all that type of stuff is really, really dynamic. It's all of this. And you can see it. Listen, the Rats are trying to get back on the ship, dude. You see this Colin Cowherd. He's, like, talking about the Tua throws that he sees. You can tell him, he's put a bow on his tail. And he's trying to get back on the ship. It's very, very clear what's going on there. And you feel good about it because you look in Patriots land, they're all freaking out. In Jets land, they're losing offensive linemen. Got sacked a ton, I think, today. Bills, they're still cruising along. And they got, I think the big thing with them is they got Odell Beckham. It seems like he's going to be interested in joining the club. A lot of stars are latching on there. A lot of people believe that that's a place where you could ride to get into a Super Bowl. I understand that. The Dolphins got to take them down. There's not a ton of talking that you can do about the Bills. They have been your daddy. They have been your daddy for years straight. You need a way to figure that out and make something happen. But this definitely looks like the best puncher's chance that they have had in a while to do anything with that team, to take them out and to really do anything with them. So. Interesting stuff. We'll on the last couple days been quiet on the field, obviously with the days off, but business soon to pick up as the joint practices get going.